between going in a gassy to a fruity or just different flavors like that, it puts you in different spaces and you get different feelings. And at that point, because you're accessing different terpenes and realities, you can really segregate yourself from actually getting the flavor of what you're doing. Sensory overload, so to speak.
Tone, man, I'm so sorry. We're going to have to take this from the top.
Okay.
All right.
No problem.
Let's do it again. So welcome back to the Terps of the Beast Coast. Today we're hanging out with Tony, one of the Resin Cup judges. Hey, this shit is fucking live. So with that said.
And we are live. There's no doubt. Judging live.
So he just went through basically what he's done is grouped his terpenes so he can kind of like battle them as he goes through. And if you could, Tony, that was so informative. I'm sorry to ask, but can you run through that again?
Let's do it again. All right. So what I like to do in my judging process, I found, judging quite a long time as I've been doing this. I find that what I like to do now, especially with something this small, so 12 entries is while it's a lot, it's manageable. It's a small category, so you're pretty good. And what I like to do is I like to break things down and separate them by terpene profiles. You know what I mean? So like these 4 entries here, 1, 2, 8, and 10 are very similar in their terpene profile. So rather than me trying to just smoke one of these and move on to something else, and maybe get caught up in a sensory overload with the fruits versus the gas versus the funk versus the flats, the pines, the piffies, whatever type of, potpourri or spice or whatever it is your terpene flavor is that you like. I find that while judging, if you switch between flavors a lot, you kind of get a sensory overload and you kind of lose a feel for what's really good with those other distinct flavors, because if you mix and mash, sometimes you're going to find something that you like, and that's going to overpower everything. And at that point, you're left with pleasing a palate that's in a sensory overload. So sometimes something really nice can get hidden by that. So for me, I find that if you separate all the terps in your judge's kit and you bring the ones that are very similar to each other into their own little pile, and then you break down said judging each separate pile, you stay within that terpene profile, and it allows you to pick the one that's the best of that terpene profile. And then what you can do after that is once you segregated the best from each pile, you can take those into your final pile, do a re-smoke so that you think, and believe in what you've experienced. And then with those final 3, 4, 2, 1, depending on how many piles and flavor profiles are broken down within your kit, really distinguish and really materialize which one is the best suitor of them all. That's just how I feel about it. So that's like my process in going through it. And what I've found really helps myself over the years of doing this.
Nice. I love how you've categorized the terpenes into subcategories, and then you go through it in that approach. With that said, people are probably I've never really heard about Tony. Let's give him a little background. How long have you been playing with resin?
Okay. Wow. I would say my whole life, but you can't really say that, right? Because you're not born into this unless you're born into this. And nobody gives their kid resin right out the gate, right? Or rosin or live resin or marijuana or whatever it is your cup of tea is. For me, I was blessed. I found flower at a young age, 13. I had Jerry Garcia and his crew come into Worcester in 1988. They parked the bus in Worcester in 88. They used my property, my family's property, to park on and stay for the week while they did their show before they were banned from Worcester. And in doing so, I really got a firsthand look at behind the scenes with, the dead and that type of lifestyle. And so from a young age, I didn't really get into the balloons, the acid, the other things that came along with it. But I did enjoy the bead making. That was really spectacular because it was very artistic. And I really loved the flower. Marijuana to me opened a whole new world to me. It helped me with my anxiety. It helped me with my anger. It helped keep me calm and centered and focused and in my comfortable zone, So for me, I found her early. I was very lucky. And then, you know, as I grew and I had children, and because she was illegal when I was popular with her, because I'm old as dirt, you really had to hide that side, you know? So as I became an adult and I worked in the, you know, regular sector and, you know, was in the public and had to raise children, I was very quiet about this. And then in 2012, when I got my medical card in Massachusetts, I came out of my grow closet, so to speak. And in doing so, you know, it allowed me to really show people what I could do with this plant. And by 2014, we were winning trophies, and I'd linked up with High Times and started judging and you know, entering different things there. And then that took me through the entire American list of cups for, you know, 7 years. And really, I got to experience a lot of things. I've judged High Times. I've judged, you know, Dabadoo. I've judged, you know, glass competitions. I've judged, you know, for Chalice Festival. I've judged for, I mean, so many shows and festivals. It's unbelievable. You know, one of them, the Harvest Cup, being right here local to us in Massachusetts. So in just being an overall player in the game of marijuana, I've developed a terpene profile for smoking because I've been smoking my whole life. So you really can distinguish what is what when it comes to marijuana and terpene profiles. You know, it's like a flavor palette, you know, with anything, you know, chocolates, candies, foods, wines, you know, really it's just developing your palate. And once you do that, you know, fortunately enough for me, I've been invited to say, hey, to use your palate to tell us what's best. And so I've been doing it for a long time. I enjoy doing it. I love smoking hash. I love making hash. I love being a part of the entire process from beginning to end. So for me to be able to judge for you guys and to bless you guys with my opinion and for you to take it in any way of serious or not is a blessing. It's an overall blessing. And I appreciate it. And I'm glad my journey's brought me here.
Oh, man, thank you so much. We appreciate you. So one thing that I want to talk about is you just mentioned to me is, you know, processing the resin, right? Capturing the resin. So what's your favorite work bag?
All right. So now when it comes to washing, we just did this last night, actually. Me and a buddy of mine, we just sat down and watched we did a jar test on his sour apple. He wanted to see how it would come out. So we sat down last night. We busted out the Brutalist system, or 2 nights ago, I apologize. And we busted out his sour apple, and we really went to town on it. And I got to tell you, for each pull, when we pull, I would say you know, everybody wants that 45, 73, 90. You know, each person has their distinguished flavor. I'm not going to lie to you. I love full spectrum. And what I mean by that is I love taking every bag, and I love being able to mix and blend every bag. And
we're live, baby.
So it's going to then they must replace the trick saw with a real saw. What?
I apologize. That actually came on. I don't know how it came on.
No worries. So we're talking about the bag.
The hash. Preference. Yeah. So for me, I'm going to be honest with you. Our best pull last night or the day before, everything that for the last couple times, 120 gives you your fullest, nice, cleanest pull. Okay? There's no doubt. 90 and all those give you a really nice small batch of clean pull for good, you know, terpene profile. But I'm going to be honest with you. When we're done, we shave it all together. I want full spectrum. So for me, we go full spectrum. You know, we don't put the green. We don't put the 190, the 220. You know, we don't put the stuff that, you know, is catching anything you don't want in your hash. But between the 45 and the 120, man, blend it all together, sieve it together, press it together, and get that nice high. Because I find that when you smoke it separate, you do get a decent high from it, but it's not the same high as when I have them all together. That real swollen back of the head, full-eyed, nice high.
Gotcha. I was just talking to another hash maker about, he just brought up that same thing where he believes full spectrum consists of the 25 straight up to the, like, you know, the 150. And, you know, to be blunt, he was like, nobody's really putting in the 25 or the 150. We're normally going right in the middle of it. So, you know, he feels as though that term itself is kind of false leading because we're truly.
It is because, you know, people put full spectrum on the label And full spectrum is full spectrum of the plant. So you can't separate any type of terpene profile, any type of size issue, any type of degradation in there. If you separate any type of chemical imbalance within the plant, it can't be considered full spectrum. I have this conversation with everyone all day about CBD extracts and stuff, and how CBD without the THC is not full spectrum. It can't be full spectrum, and it doesn't go into your bloodstream quick enough because the THC adheres it into your fat. It absorbs it into your body faster. It allows your body to bind with the CBD. So really, when you're sold just CBD on its own, industrialized hemp CBD, I don't care how many times it says, oh, it's full spectrum because it's from the entire plant. No, it's not. You've taken certain chemical additives out of it. You've segregated. And once you do that, like Marinol, it doesn't work. It works on a certain level, but not the level you need it to work on. 100%. If you don't have a 1-to-1, 1-to-20 ratio, I don't care what your ratio is. If you don't have a percentage of THC in there, your CBD is not going to absorb into the system properly like it should be, or as quickly as it should be. So really, when it comes to smoking hash to get high, it's the same thing. If you don't have the entourage effect, which is the full effect of everything, you're not going to get that full blend high that you would get from actual full spectrum. I mean, I believe this wholeheartedly. We can debate this topic. There's going to be people that want to debate it. It's like anything. People like red wine, that like white wine. People like sweet wines, that like dry wines. You're going to like what you like. You're going to adhere to what your profile gets you to like and wants you to like. But at the end of the day, if you're going to categorize something, really, it should be categorized properly. And full spectrum is the entire spectrum of the plant, not a segregated few spectrums brought together to give you what you want to sell as a product on yourself as a full spectrum. So when it comes to judging, and like I said, here we are, we're judging, ladies and gentlemen, when it comes to doing this, you know what I mean? If you're not willing to take the bad with the good in this, which means, the bad processors and the good processors deserve the same amount of respect, even though they're a bad processor, you can learn a lot from using in seeing bad product. It can teach you something as well as a good product. So people run to good product because, you want good product, right? You buy a Mercedes over a Toyota because you want a nice car. You buy Gucci over, Walmart brand because you want a named brand, because that's what your eye brings you to. That's what you have to have. So to each individual person who's going to have any type of opinion on this, they're each going to have what they feel is the best. So nobody's opinion is fact. But the fact is, full spectrum is full spectrum. And if it's not full spectrum, you shouldn't call it full spectrum. Definitely. And you cannot say that a plant missing any type of its compounds is full spectrum. You know what I mean? It's like an extract artist. Extract artists love to call themselves extract artists, right? But yet, if it's not nug run, they don't care. How many of them are breaking down the roots and boiling them down and pulling the CBG and the CBN out? How many of them are out there actually making salves and doing the work that's needed? If you look at most top-end extract artists, they're about blasting. And the funny thing about this, too, is a lot of people give credit to these named brands, and they're buying outdoor, light-depth, greenhouse shit that's been, brought into a really good product and sold to a really good name, and you feel like, my $100 a gram went the right way because, man, I'm paying for top dollar, but really you're getting greenhouse and you're getting light depth and you're getting not that little 4-liter indoor bomb ass grow from that really good grower. You know what I mean? So even a lot of times when you buy these high-end brands, you're not really getting high-end. So everything can be misleading and misconceptive, but at the end of the day, your opinion matters and everybody's, entry matters because it's people's work, and you really have to respect their work and give them time. No matter how dark it is, no matter how bad it smells, no matter how goofy it looks, you have to respect the fact they went through the process, they put something in. If it isn't right, don't judge them negatively on it. Teach them why it's not right and help them come to the level you've come to experience. But most people today, they're not willing to do that. They're willing to give an opinion. They're willing to put somebody down, and they're willing to feel complacent in their place and sit back and say, well, I'm the king, so therefore I don't have to. But no, bro, your peasants make you. And without your peasants, you can never be a king. So therefore, you can either be a good king and have respect for your people, or you can be a piece of shit and have no respect, and they don't respect you, but you're still the king. So it really chooses what path you want to walk and how you want to be. So when it comes to judging, respect all your entries, good or bad. Help people, educate them, bring them up, teach them what they can do to make that product better. Don't just tell them it's a piece of shit. Tell them, yo, listen, this is why this is this color. This is why this is this way. What temperature were you working in? What were you doing? The reason the terpenes aren't here is because you left it this, understand their processing. See where their processing was. And if the processing went wrong, help them to understand where it went wrong and guide them so that maybe later on when they enter their next product, you get something fire from them. And now you're an educator. And now they're always going to look up to you and respect you. But if you tell them, yo, your product was shit, that's why you didn't win, you suck, they're going to walk away dejected. But not only that, they're going to think you're a real piece of shit because they put all their heart and work into that. You know what I mean? It may not have been the best, and you're used to the best, so good for you. But, man, that was their best. Gotcha. So don't take their best and shit on it because it's not your best. Take their best and teach them how to be your best. And then everyone will have good hash, and you can judge great hash. But, man, if you just go in it like, I'm a king and I only smoke the good shit and that doesn't look right, so I'm not going to judge it, test it, or smoke it. I'm just going to score it on its look and what I think. Well, you're about as ignorant as they are. So,
well, don't forget, I did give all judges a scorecard. So take a look at the scorecard when you're going through the entries. And then from there, let me know what you're thinking. So with that said, what's your favorite terp when it comes to terps?
I'm old school. I'm an 80s kid. So for me, born in the 70s, raised in the 80s. For me, I'm the old school. I'm the lemons, the pines, the skunks. We didn't have this flavor plethora that these kids have today. They're really spoiled today. They're lucky today. We had Strawberry Hills. We had, Agent Orange out of Cali. And you know what I mean? You had your blueberries and you had some really nice fruity stuff, but it wasn't as abundant as most lemons from your hazes, most pines, and definitely the skunks, And then chem came along in the early 90s, and everything got bred with chem, you know what I mean? And it's kind of like GMO and papaya today. They're your biggest dumpers, so they're in all your hash. You just can't get around it. There's just certain strains that are always going to dominate.
Nice.
But for me, lemons, pines, skunks, those are, because they bring me to my youth. But I'll tell you what, I love the grape stomper. I love the strawberry banana. I love the, guava. I love the papaya. I love, the GMO. You know what I mean? It's like, I love a lot of the flavors that we have today, but like when I smoke them, I enjoy their flavor and they're nice, but it doesn't take me back like that lemon does or like that pine does. When I was a kid, you got weed and it either smelled like a Christmas tree, or you had the piff that smelled like potpourri, you know what I mean? Or you had the really good lemons, the citruses, but it just wasn't the variety we have today. So while I enjoyed today's variety and a lot of the flavors and the strength and the potency with which we've been able to progress with marijuana, I always harken back to what got me going as a kid.
That's what's up. So, man, you brought up some interesting flavors: Agent Orange, blueberry. I remember the days of those.
Oh, come on, we can go into the Dutch Passions. We can go into the, the Panama Reds. We can go into the Thai. I mean, what I mean? Chocolate Thai for days. Like, oh man, all the old school flavors. You just
when it was just so exciting when you taste something that just didn't have just like that green kind of taste. It was like, oh my god,
the Beastas,
like
the great runs of the Beastas and the Vancouvers and the Canucks of 88 to 94.
Like, this thing has grape. Wow. The cotton candy was one of my other ones that I loved back in the day. The cotton candy strain. That was the four-way when the four-way came out. Oh,
the flow, God. Headband. Like, come on, bro. When you started getting all the combinations of like the flavors, and it was just like, yes, it was awesome to see. That's what I mean. I love the evolution of this. I love where it's growing and going. I love the fact we have so many flavors. Unfortunately in hash right now, you don't have as many flavors as you think you do because not everything's a dumper and a washer. So a lot of stuff gets, supplanted with GMO and papaya, but you still, even when you do your small runs and you got those flavors, it's fun to have the plethora of choice that we have today.
Definitely. All right. So tell us what you're thinking and what you have in front of you.
All right, so I know we've got a bunch of GMOs and gases right here with 1, 2, 8, and 10. We've got 2 interesting flavors right here with 3 and 4. Stand on their own. We've got our fruits over here with 7, 5, 6, and 9. And then we've got 2 shattered consistencies with 11 and 12 that until I melt them and bring heat to them because of their consistency, the terpene, the smell isn't quite there yet. You know what I mean? So I know I'm going to have to dab these to really, I'm going to have to nose exhale on these to know they're terpene. They don't stand out like the rest of these do. You know, which shatter really never does. It's kind of hard once it takes on that consistency. Even with the cold cure, you know what I mean? It really, it's kind of hard it doesn't have that same nose. It just really doesn't as like a butter. It's kind of funny, but it's
so I'm going to be full transparent. Those 2 were actually butter when they arrived.
And they hardened out.
Yeah.
That happens.
You know
what I mean? So like you can tell with this one. But again, when you smell it,
it didn't have any smell in the butter for me.
You don't get that. You know what I mean? There's not a real direct like, hey, like these, these have a GMO in there somewhere. Like you can tell that. With one of these, it was a strawberry banana outright. Like you could tell it. You know what I mean? With both of these, they were just so lacking on terpene that I just had to separate them because their nose isn't there. So those I know I'm going to have to look at, taste, smell, really pay attention to. So, hi, guys. Just wanted to say we're out here right now. We're live. We're judging the Resin Cup right here. This is the homie that runs the Resin Cup. All right. Out here, Resin, and we're killing it with the Resin Cup right now. We're doing a live judging. All right. We're going to be blowing clouds to you guys in a second. But right now, we're doing a live judging and an interview for the Resin Cup. You guys should check it out. This is the New York version. We're going to be coming up with a Maine version soon. But this gentleman's been doing this a while. He takes it seriously, and it's a great little show. So definitely check it out. What do we got for an Instagram or for a feed for them to go to?
Resin_cup for Instagram.
Resin_cup for Instagram. So go check it out. All right. He's actually live here with me, Cal. He's live here with me right now.
What's up?
I believe Cal, who's one of our judges as well, is a part of this. Cal Akers from Wisely Hash.
He's going to be a future judge.
He's a future judge. Cal, you will be a future judge. I'm a judge now. Get in line. Woo!
So what we have lined up here is the body, the scorecard. Basically, it's Frenchie scorecard. So the body, the appearance, the bouquet or aroma, nose, which we've been talking about.
Yep.
Then we're going to get into the intensity, duration, how that works, the melt. The melt carries the heaviest weight on the score. And then the complexity.
So your melt carries the heaviest weight, and this is for how clean it appears on your nail.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Now, see, this scorecard is meant for temple balls and for actual hash making scoring. Whereas we're doing rosin right now. Your burn should always be clean, but if you have a bad burn in your rosin, then you know. But for that category, that is definitely you can tell with Frenchie scorecard. You know what I mean? That man loved his temple
He
balls.
did.
I miss fucking Frenchie.
I do, and that's why we'll keep the honor of his scorecard in the Resin Cup. It's like my
no, absolutely. Frenchie should always be. Again, you asked me about this, and I'm blessed, bro, because I got to spend time overseas with people like Frenchie and Mila and Jorge and, so many great old school cats, whether anybody likes them or respects them today or liked their books, which are, filled with a lot of old dirty ways, because that's the way things start. You got to respect the fact they were the forefathers, the pioneers, Soma. These guys were out there killing it when the shit was illegal, when it wasn't fun, when there weren't sessions, when you couldn't walk around with a Pelly and a mothership, and you know what I mean? And you couldn't be live about judging. Like, this was all done secret for years. Most people don't realize the actual High Times Cannabis Cup started as the Harvest Cup because it was about Croptober. And so everybody would take their harvest and bring it into Amsterdam in November and go hard and try to get these awards. And you know what I mean? Like, to do what we're doing today in the public eye it's amazing.
It is.
But to not pay homage to guys like Mila, Frenchie, Soma, you know what I mean? All the old school cats, you know what I mean? There's so many of them. Neville, Shanti. We could go into this and name so many people, you know what I mean? to not pay homage to the guys that were here doing this in the 70s and 80s when this was highly illegal, all the way through the 90s when they were chasing us down up into Operation Pipe Dreams in the early 2000s, and all of the things that had to be done, it's
couldn't even buy grow lights without being fucking.
I mean, think about
list,
it.
Bro.
Think about all the shops that would put you out there into the police when you came and picked up your stuff.
My homie used to take the train from Connecticut all the way to Oregon just to get the lights and come back with them because it was easier that way versus having it mailed to your house.
It was about being safe.
You know what I mean? So imagine that, motherfucker.
Back then, it cost you 20 years to life.
Couldn't walk to just right to the street to get a light. You had to.
So like kids today, they're lucky, bro. They're very lucky. All right.
Yeah. So the other parts is stability, smoothness, taste, unique pleasure, the cannabinoid potency, the spectrum,
look at
and the quality.
Smell this. Smell number one.
Oh, I know it. I know what they all are.
Yeah. Smell number one.
Yeah.
So now, what do you smell with number one?
I know what number one is.
No, it's not about knowing what it is.
But
what do you smell?
It's my favorite.
Do you smell the heat? Do you smell the fact the Terps got burnt? That's a great thing about doing this. You know, this isn't just about getting high, and this isn't just about having fun. It is, but it's not just about that. So now you have this entry, right? This is a number one. This is a cross. This is a very gassy, skunky GMO cross you have right here, okay? And what you're looking at is something really nice, definitely, without a doubt. And when you first hit the nose of it, you smell it, right? You're like, oh, yeah, it's got that morning breath, that nice kick. Well, if you really inhale for a second, you can tell they went a little hot on this. You can tell that the Terps were definitely mistreated. And you have to take your time. It's not just about reaching in, scooping a huge grab, and fucking throwing it in your rig and getting high off it. That's the bonus, right? But before you do that, take your time and smell it. Observe it. Observe what you're smelling. Observe what you're seeing. Bring your senses into key. Then after that, when you smoke this, people call me a savage for this. When I'm judging, I exhale through the nose every time. You want to know why? Your nose will give you every bit of flavor that's involved in this terpene. Every bit. Your nose will tell you. Your nose will tell you more than your tongue ever could. And if you want to debate that with me, you can. Cool. But for me, I know it's fact. And that's how I like to judge every one of my first hits, with that nose exhale. It burns, it stings, people can't stand it. Oh my God, what are you doing? You're a savage. Nah, bro. I want all my senses to tell me. Before I get high, I want my senses to experience every bit of flavor, to know what I'm smoking. Not just getting high. Not just saying, oh, it looks good. Oh, it smells cool. Let's dab it. No. Get into it. Research it. Feel it. Know it. Understand it.
Nice.
Now, the consistency of this, very soft, really nice butter that retains the look of almost a shatter form, that yellow, you know what I mean? That almost BHO-ish look. It's got a really candor look to it. See that yellowish glow? So, it's nice. Like I said, the Terps were a little mishandled, but I know what I'm smoking here because I had this motherfucker in 2014 and was smoking it before y'all even knew what the fuck it was. Garlic cookies, bitch.
Oh, so we're doing a cold start.
Yes, sir.
Nice.
Absolutely. Very light, like I said, because the Terps, remember what I told you in the beginning on this? So when you exhale on this, it doesn't even exhale within the same way that it smells. You know what I mean? So it's very, very light on the exhale. Body, we're going to have to give that a minute.
So while he's rolling over the scorecard, I want to let you guys know that you know, we'll be giving out an NFT to all of our judges, vendors, and participant of the Resin Cup. Um, so if you are interested, please reach out to me. You can always reach out to me on Instagram, Resin.
What the heck just happened?
Underscore cup.
So on this, okay, entry number 1, perfect. Do you want me to put my name in here?
Yeah, so what just happened is this is top heavy. I didn't swing it back enough. So when it fell, it snapped. It's all good. Somebody gifted me this piece, so it's not too terrible. Thanks,
Dude,
man.
I just got gifted a banger and it broke the same way. Are you kidding me?
Yeah, it
How
just happened.
crazy is that?
I know, bro. So it's all good. I have another one. It's all good. No worries. You know, it's all good. As long as I didn't the cap didn't break, which is cool. Yeah, all good. It's just the.
Okay.
Because it topped over, so it's like top heavy. So it hit this part. It was just so funny. It just hit just the table, the marble itself, right on the angle. Bang, but hey, it happens.
All right, guys. We just broke a rig and we just broke a banger because you can't have fun judging if you don't break some shit, right? We're on to number 2. Again, number 2 dwarfs number 1. You can really. Number 2 was definitely letting number 1 know, yo, I'm your big brother and I'm here to slap you around. Without a doubt. The terpene preservation on this was actually really on friggin' point. It's really, it's up there. Yeah, now I'm not going too big here because I don't want to go too big because we got a lot to do.
Mm-hmm.
So I hope that's okay.
Oh, it's perfectly fine.
All right, here we go, ladies and gentlemen. We're gonna get in on number 2. Another reason I like to go really small is the hit will evaporate and go away. You get 1 hit, you're not really wasting it. You're keeping your senses right where you need to be so you can keep judging. Developed this for Davadoos and USA squash offs because we do 20 dabs in a row for judging, and it can almost be overwhelming. And so you've had to learn to judge in a speedy process, which almost isn't a quality way of judging, but it's what the competitions call for. So you have to learn to adapt to that. And I found if you just put enough in there to get that, but at the same time, some people feel like, well, how do you really know if you got high, got the body high, got what you really wanted or needed? You should be able to get the effect off of just that little bit, especially with concentrates. We lose, sight of the fact that concentrates are much more powerful forms. So if you're used to smoking a whole joint, you know what I mean, and you do that little bit of a dab, it should be pretty equivalent. And usually a joint will close your eyes and make you eat a pizza, which, as you can tell, I like.
It's a good thing, bro. It's just the banger, not the rig.
It's all right.
Yeah, it was just a banger.
And I'm sorry that happened.
No worries.
That table's very unforgiving, dude.
I should have just placed it here on this bigger mat.
Yep.
For sure.
Yeah. Now this one, compared to number 1, out of the park. A dragon. Oh. So number 2 intensity is definitely up there. Melts is fucking right on. It came right off on all of it. Just the other one. So complexity and balance right there. Another thing about me judging, so our scorecards 1 through 5 here. I'm doing this a long time. I don't give out 5s or 10s, and a lot of people tell me I'm hard on with that. For you to get a 5 and a 10, it's like it's really. So I'm not trying to be a prick, but usually if you get a 3 out of me, you're fucking killing the game. You get a 4 from me and a 1 through 5 scale. That's godlike. To get a 5, like you gotta really be on point with everything. And it's very hard for a lot of people to be that good. Okay? So for my grading scale, it's like, I know 3 sounds middle of the road, but you really got to think about it. You're at about 70% of what you're doing, and that's pretty damn good. You know what I mean? So when you push over those numbers, it's got to be really stellar. So just remember, when you're judging, when you put things up there and you give them a 10 or a 5 or a top score right out the gate, you're really putting yourself in a position that if you find the one that's really deserving of that, you kind of wasted it on the one that wasn't. Just my thought and view on that. So see now, because of Frenchie's scorecard and because of the way this young gentleman is running his competition, I'm going to divert from my way of normally doing things because he goes in a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, straight through scoring manner. So I could go to my next one in this category of where I wanted to stay and jump forward and come back. But you know what? We're going to respect the way they do things here, and we'll switch it up and follow their program, which at times can be fun too because, now you're doing something different while judging instead of going through the same steps. Oh, yeah. Okay. So we won a cup with this in 2015. This is beauty. This is really, look at it. It's nice. It's white. It's great. The stability, the nose. So I'm really kind of excited. Let's hit this and see if we get to where we want to be, right? And don't forget, 6:30, we'll be heading over to Elite Digital Radio. We'll be running our live podcasts. Tonight, we've got a young female artist to start our season 2, our first episode. Go female. An amazing DJ. So I look forward to seeing you all there tonight. Probably have Terp as a guest as well. Maybe. Who knows? We'll see. Again, I don't need much. I know, everybody's probably out there saying, oh, fuck. No, again, this is all you really need. You don't really need to take much. You know what I mean? Be respectful. And also, you're not trying to, obliterate yourself right at the gate. How are you going to be honest about your feeling of the other, entries if you're slamming it right out the gate? It's fun to get high, but it's, fun to get high. Again, with the cold start, you're just wanting to get it to that melty point. You don't really want to push it past that. If you get it jumping up and down like a frying pan, you've gone too far and you definitely ruin the Terps. Now, see, this is a funny one. This is a conundrum right here because The smell and the look are not indicative of the hash. And this is the great thing right here, right? So it showed you that. It's beautiful to look at. Great color. Smell. Strawberry banana. Remind me of Dabalicious back in the day. And this is where you take the terpenes and rub them on the jar. Let the jar sit out overnight, and then you put the hash in. So when anybody cracks the jar, you get that nose right away. But the hash inside may not be as indicative. When I'm saying that, and the reason I'm saying that is because I have a burn that I didn't get from the first two. And I scored the first one low because I wasn't really impressed. But yet, it's way better than what I was just excited to smoke. See, that's the funny thing about this. So I got a little bit of a burn. And the flavor is definitely not indicative of the nose. That's what's funny. So that's where you get that. Did they fuck with the jar and the terpenes and then give you the hash that wasn't actually what they gave you? So what I mean by that is I just exhaled, and that's no way anywhere like what it smells. And from the burn I'm getting in the back of my throat, it's a dirty hash. So there's one of two things that could happen here. It could be a bad wash. You know what I mean? It could be they fucking layered it Dabalicious style, pulled a Brandon. Or it's the simple fact that this is that, and I almost don't want to say it, CRC hash mix. Whatever it is, it's a real letdown. It's a disappointment. And this is why we do what we do, because this is how you segregate companies like this. You give them a piss poor score, and you let them know that their tricks didn't fuck with your nose, and the fact that you understand the terpenes didn't allow you to be manipulated by the look and the smell. Because most people would have smelt that. And here's the great thing about not smoking too much. If I was super high right now, I probably wouldn't have noticed that as much. You know what I mean? I just would have smelled it, would have smoked it. If I'd gone a little hotter, I would have let it go because of the fact I went a little hotter. So a lot of reasons why I do what I do and the way that I do it. And this is one of them, to find a fake.
Resin Cup. So, the reason why I put Resin Cup is this moment right here. This is why I have people who know about the resin, who are active with the resin, are judges, because, I want to give you, the hash maker, the competitor, the best feedback that you can get so you can understand what it means to ranch the resin.
Oh, this is another one with a good nose on it, but I'm almost afraid because I feel like usually a lot of the times when you get the same jars, it's the same company, different entry. So now I'm getting that grapey, like, oh man, this could actually be really good. And now I'm a little shell shocked because, the last one left me like a kick in the nuts. You get a box of chocolates, you open it up, there wasn't caramel in the middle, it was a dead ant. While some like it, not exactly fun for me. So this is going to be interesting, but we're going to go. We're going to dive in. We're going to see where we end up. Again, the look is right, clean, clear, beautiful. It's what when you sell a gram of rosin, this is what you want it to look like, because motherfuckers be like, oh my God, it's so white. I got to have it. Oh. So, the look, right?
Appearances, man. Appearances.
Stability. It's that nice butter texture, right? Nose. Right there. So now we smoke it, and we see if if this is Julia Roberts in the alleyway, or if this is like Julia Roberts out of the alleyway. We're about to find out. All right. if you need something to smoke off of, all right, I
got my other one.
okay. Because we can set you up, line you up, and get something squared away for you right away, so that you're not just sitting there.
This guy brought this thing out.
Oh, your Puffco, right? Yeah.
Got my Puffco, but I'm not happy with the Puffco lately.
Let's see. Where am I? I got on this thing and I started doing the judging, and then I came to the realization.
Is there another power source down there?
Yo, Dro, how's things, my brother? How's Michigan?
Resin Cup is going to Michigan.
Oh, guess what, Dro? Resin Cup's coming to Michigan. So actually, we can send you that way. They need judges for out there. So get everybody's entries up and ready and going. And then when they come out there, I'll link you up. And then you can get the entries directed to him and do a judging with him. I kind of like this little live judging thing. It's actually pretty cool. I mean, it's like our USA Squash Off, but it's a little more intimate because you can sit here and just take your time and you're not really rushing through each squish. So I like the whole format of it. It's original, that's for sure. Original, and originality is definitely cool. And away we go. So, this is what happened here. They burnt the Terps on this and they knew it, so they fucking turped up the jar.
100%.
Wow. Same burn in the back of the throat, too.
Well, this is why I have made you a judge on this thing, because I know you will honestly give proper feedback.
And I appreciate that. I really do. There's nothing better than, being able to sit with people who are like-minded and judging hash, talking hash. That's why I love our podcast. We'll have to have you actually on the podcast so you can talk about and promote the competition.
I would love to. Thank you so much. It's been interesting because after we closed the deadline, there are still people who wanted to enter. So, let me explain what the Resin Cup's about.
Please do. Hey guys, listen up.
Well, what I decided to do here is, we're going region to region around the United States where if the state has adult and medical, or if they have adult, then that allows them to participate. So generally it's 5 grams per entry divided into half a gram. With that said, the first stop is going to be New York City, and we're going to only award one person. There is no second, there is no third. It's just first place, and he'll be the New York City regional winner. Same thing will happen in Maine. Same thing will happen in Michigan. Same thing might happen in Virginia. Same thing will happen in Vegas. And then we're going to bring it back to the East for the final round. Final round will consist of all of the Resin Cup first place winner. And to throw a little fun into it, anyone can still enter in the final round. So at the end of that, we're going to dub that person pretty much nationwide Resin Cup
So you
champion.
hear that? That's what you got to do. You win it in your state, and then once all the regional states have completed, you'll compete against all of them to win the big prize and be the big dog hash maker. Woohoo! Are you the big dog? Do you got what it takes to be the big dog? Let us know. Let us know.
This has been my favorite. This is like not one of the entries.
Of course not. And he's gonna put this in front of me. This guy's so evil, bro. You don't even know. That's how these guys are. Dude, it's so small.
Right? It's a different.
Dude, it's got a nice smooth nose to it. Oh my goodness.
It's a little bit left. I'll leave this one for you to try out after. I won't kill it.
All right, so this is super fruity. Fruity. Yeah, so I'm in the middle of judging right now. And this motherfucker throws this firebomb smooth hash in my face. And he's like, yo, it's not an entry. But just smell this. And I'm like, yo, I could eat this. And so now I'm going to get all fucked up on all these entries to give him a good result. And then after I'm all fucked up on all these good entries, I get to finally hit the good hash. That's fucked up. So can you see the carrot? Look at my fat ass running for it, right?
Hey. What's that?
It's all right.
It's a hard
I'm gonna
world.
take him downstairs and have him empty the system with me anyway. So, little do you know.
Snapped up.
You know, I will say they've all melted really nice.
Nice.
I will say that.
The melt is there. Just one.
So,
There we go. I think this is the freaking.
my buddy who's watching right now says if you want, he can link up with you. He'll start lining up entries for you right now.
Which
Michigan.
I wonder if I could fucking because we're supposed to go.
He used to work the squash off with us and do all of our squash off runs.
Oh, thank you so much.
All right, so here we are. We're number 5. 5's funny because 5's real deal. And what I mean is the terpenes you smell are the terpenes you taste. But unfortunately, she super scratchy. Super scratchy. That's like the best way I can put it. It's kind of
Totally forgot to transfer that in there. Ooh, that's kind of dry. Yeah, that must be some good shit back there.
they're used to when I do the podcast they don't come in, and you know what I mean. So
Gotcha. They probably thought we were talking amongst ourselves then.
the pocket. Well, they know I'm doing the show tonight, but then they walked in and saw this, so they probably got really. They're just super respectful that way. But I mean, we could invite them in, and they'd come running in. So.
I don't like this one. Let's try that out though. Oh, this is the Saba one. No wonder. I was like, why do I not like that one? Oh, God damn it. Fuck my shit up. Oh, is this another? Oh. Okay.
So we got 5 down. DC Scrogger coming to DC too, bro.
We're gonna do probably Virginia. Northern Virginia.
Virginia. My bad. I lied. Virginia. Fuck you, DC. As soon as I brought you up, you just said, fuck no. You don't like this. So fuck you, DC. Sorry.
DC. Yeah.
He likes those racist white hick hats making down in Virginia. You don't like the people of DC. Fuck y'all. Y'all got too much education for that. He said, you got all your money in politics, and he don't have his money in politics, so he doesn't want to go anywhere where politics are.
That's funny.
Okay, so here we are. Number 6. Wave. Yeah, I try waving to you, bro. I'm sorry, but this, for some reason, I've touched it 7 times and it's literally not working. I don't like you, bro. I guess my phone said fuck DC too. See, break it up. Break it up and get that little. So number 6 again has that super fruity nose. So we're skiing down the fruit train. How fruity!
Oh, I forgot it. It's something in my pocket, bro. This is like,
all right. All right. Whew, I'm feeling the effects. We're 6 people. We're halfway through. 50% in.
I get it. I'm loving this one. I heard that. This fucking. I had to keep that one. Oh. Okay, let's again.
Stronger. You got a message too. I don't know if you want to check.
Oh, did I?
Yeah.
Thanks.
We watched the sour apple at
How was it?
you know, again the return wasn't what
It's not. I've ran apple back. I had this grower who had apple. He came with me at apple. He wanted me ran. It was like the lowest fucking shit I ever got.
but it's funny
The Terp is nice.
because but because it dumped
In the dress.
in the sift, like it dumped.
And that's
Right?
another thing, right?
And then we would press like 10-gram bags
Mhm.
and only get 50% return.
So that's what I've been noticing too. What you get in the sieve doesn't necessarily would translate in the wash.
So the other thing too, I've also like everybody's into the big bags and packing the big bags
No.
and stuff.
No.
I rolled down to these little tiny
Yup.
bags.
Bringing it back to how it was originally, because I
And
noticed
I'll
that
tell you,
it's
the
quicker.
return
Yep.
was way better
Yep.
than any of the big bags I packed.
I've been keeping it on in like two by two. That's where I'm at now.
I did another thing too last night where I'd taken all the really flat pucks
Mm-hmm.
that really, and I cut them all back open and just removed the hard puck inside. I took those and I shattered them back up and then repacked them and I just slow melted,
THCA.
and it literally gave the hugest gush. It was crazy.
Did you run it till you cleared it all out and just make some THCA out of it?
Yeah.
Nice.
And then I basically licked the paper afterwards. It was so runny, it was crazy. But yeah, it was definitely, it was interesting.
Nice.
You know what I mean? It was interesting.
Which one we're into? 7?
7.
Oh shit. Yeah. I knew. Now you're heading it. I separated for that reason. So 7 and the rest are I think are going to be interesting. Mind you, I have not even dabbed any of these entries yet myself personally. I've just been smelling them and looking at them. And I have to remind myself to take a photo when I get them right away versus when I'm doing the photos like now, because the appearances change. I mean, there's a cure process that happens. You know, I'm still keeping them in, in a state, but it's just interesting. So I put away. So the next thing that I'm also doing for the Resin Cup is every Resin Cup, I would be pressing a tempo ball and then putting it away for a year. And then next year, we'll break open that tempo ball, take a little dab, and then put it back. So, yeah, pressed out a couple of grams of tempo ball last night. And just going to put them away for each Resin Cup.
Okay. This is crazy. Dude, they've changed this thing so much. I don't even know how to use it anymore. It's almost crazy.
Oh, yeah, the updates.
You can't now just log out.
Oh no, you have to go through a menu to do what you want with that video because you had it on for about an hour. So then do you want to, post it, or do you want to fucking not post? And
It's
store?
live for reasons. You're not supposed to be. The live is so it just goes live, which now tells you that basically before when you were live,
It was already
record you,
recorded.
but now they're recording all of your lives, so that now you can hold it, capture said recording, and repost it. It's like, bro, live was live.
Live
for
was
a reason.
live. I know, but that's not the. Where's the replay of the live, man? I don't know. I'm still alive.
It's which Bobby's like crazy about it. When the little judge and stuff, he like half a gram. I'm like, man, how can you? That's just too much. It's just crazy.
I can't.
Yeah, I can't. I mean, there was a time I could, but then I'd be a drooling fool. I wouldn't know what the fuck was going on.
Mm-hmm.
That's tough. Oh, that's leather. Oh, that's burnt Terps.
So you're saying the process itself is burnt, or did you overdo it?
They overdid it. They burnt the shit out of it. The plates were too high. The material, that was definitely dried. That wasn't fresh. Yeah. So shit was like shoe leather right there. That's like all I can say about that. That was just bad. You know, I thought I was like, okay, the smell and the look.
Gotcha.
Well, the look, you can tell it looks as dark as when it's squished. Like you can definitely tell. But like you can tell they didn't get the return they wanted, so they left that motherfucker on there to make sure they were gonna get
I smell it.
everything out of it.
I smell it. I know what you're talking about. We've all been there. Yes, sir. Yeah, this thing is interesting. I wanted to get another slurper anyway. I can go to the homie and be like, yeah, man, the banger broke, man. And he'd be like, all right.
Is it because the banger was too heavy for it?
Yeah, it's a heavy, yeah, definitely. Because of the angle on this, for this little guy, see how it is? It's not straight up. It's like over, and just the smallest weight kind of pushes it forward. That's what happened there. So in this instant, when it fell, it pretty much, where the banger was, it just broke it off because it hit against the marble.
What up, Elite? Hi, sweetheart. We'll definitely be going live. We can have. She said just some people it won't let me wave to.
Yeah, I find that sometimes too. It all depends, I guess. I don't know. Some people, they can just always wave at me when I'm in there. I'm like, how did you find the wave option?
This is super fucking stable. Look at this. See, this is cured. This is dried out. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Super nosy. Right. So number 8, right? It's too bad. It's nice. It's hard. It's that good texture. Solid, stable. Great nose, but then as you keep going at it, you can smell the plant.
Yeah. Oh, just at the end. Oh, I forgot I had this going over here. Shit.
So putting in the work. Here we are. We're putting in the work. That's funny. I just got a message putting in the work. So I put up a video of washing the other day, and as a joke, I'm like, work. Come on, work. You know, the whole military.
Right.
And my buddy just messaged about it and said I've completely ruined him now because he can't get the jingle out of his head. All right, so the nose and the texture and everything on 8, great. Little planty. You know what I mean? So while it's super. Let's see. Let's go down this road. Taking you with me. I'll put the deer with the green monster with the. I don't care. We'll smoke that shit together.
Yeah. Sure about some more hash.
What's going on, guys? We're judging the cup. Judging the Resin Cup live. We're on entry number 8. Number 8 was an interesting ride. That was an interesting ride.
Nice. Why you say that?
Well, because stable, right? Good nose. And then you smell that it's a little planty. So it makes you think, trimmy. But exhale's nice. It's got a good head instantly. You got that. I got that swell. You know what I mean? So
it's got that turp that I love.
The body is definitely a 3 on that. Appearance is definitely a little shady on that.
It's the first
the
one.
bouquet and nose is definitely 3. The intensity is definitely 3. The melt is definitely 3. Complexity and balance is definitely the smoothness, the stability, taste. Spectrum, terpene content. All right, so here's number 9, guys. Oh, good thing I caught that. Glad I looked at it because that fucker would have fell out. So let's get it like this. We got a nice little chippy rosin here going. Yeah. So, this is very. I'm gonna break you the jar.
Have fun with it. Yeah, plenty. Definitely 10-4 and up.
Finger banging the Terps. It's okay. I'm dabbing it, so relax. My hands are clean. It's the only reason I don't have a hat on. Otherwise, I'd cover this fluffy old long ass hair. But my barber's unavailable at the moment. COVID's got everybody fucked up. So it is what it is. Besides, I don't mind the long hair. I'm thinking in a little while, I'll get it long enough, I'll just ponytail that shit and I'll look like your typical Italian. Throw on a gold chain, I'm like, what's up? All right, here we go. Yeah, see, you know what you need to get? You need to get a real, like one of those cameras that can film that in that time lapse and just show it go from that form into the nice melt.
Oh, I can put the camera in the stand. We'll just have to put it in the area when you do that. Definitely. But yeah, definitely can do a video cam.
Oh, see, man, 9 kicked me in my dick.
Oof. Oof.
That's just telegraphed and calling to tell me the kids won't have school tomorrow. My wife will get that call.
No bueno, huh?
It's not no bueno. It's like for the body, right? It's really, you can tell you could smoke a lot of this before you're gonna get high. You know what I mean?
So, that brings us back to the type of genetics, right? And then as far as when we grow the genetics, how we're growing the genetics, are we growing it for mass or are we growing it for the resin, right?
See, that's the other thing too, right? Exactly. Are you growing to wash? Or are you growing to process? Are you growing to sell flour? But most importantly, how is it handled and how is it processed in the finished product before it was made into, you know what I mean? There's a lot of things that can go wrong. You can take the most beautiful flour and make the most horrible rosin because you didn't know, you know what I mean? Like you knew step A and you definitely got to D, but in C and B, there's a little translation lost. And,
Yeah.
You know, a lot of things is like I tell everyone, it's easy to grow, it's easy to wash. It's not easy to harvest and get through the cure.
100%.
Processing. It's
100%.
not easy to get through the drying and the, pressing and the processing.
Because that's
so like washing, yeah, anybody can paddle a bin of water. For growing, anybody can feed a plant and push it, right? But in the end, can you cut it down and do what was needed to make it its best?
So the other thing is, let's talk about resin ripeness, right? Because I've been looking into trichome glands and just trying to understand the different type of trichomes from the capital to the stalks. And it's just like, what are we looking for when we're ranching the resin? Are we looking for that clear to cloudy because we want more of that light hash, or are we going to go for that cloudy to amber that might not give you?
That question is dependent upon who you're asking. Okay,
I'm asking you right
now.
So
what I say, well, see, the answer I would give you is, what do you want to make? Here's the product.
That's it, right? That's it.
So what is your client base want? And so kids today, and I say kids because I'm an old man, they don't want dark hash. They don't want Frenchy cannoli temple balls. They don't want anything of that nature because that's not what they're accustomed to. They're bougie in a way where we grew up dirty with weed, so we were okay with a temple ball or hash or anything of that nature. Today, weed's gone to a bougie class, a class of smoker that is got $20,000 rigs and travels and eats high class. And so they want high efficiency terps. They don't want to get high. They want to waste it to taste it. They don't want to chaz their banger. So
I understand.
depending on who you're trying to appeal. Now, in the old days, you went to 3/4 amber
Right.
because that meant it was ready and that weed was going to knock you on your ass. But that meant sometimes going 9, 10, 11, maybe 12 weeks. Today, it's set up to a process of they want the weed out in 6 to 8 weeks because it's become a machine. So now you want to process that 6 to 8 weeker, that 7 weeker, because now that means shit, 6, 8, 7 weeks. Oh man, I'm getting 6 pulls a year if I'm efficient and perpetual. Man, we could kill it. Maybe 5 pulls and I'm doing a full clean down for everything. You know what I mean? Like in between clean downs, like so it becomes more of an efficient machine. And at that point, you're just looking for that full trichome that's still clear, not even the tint of amber, because now it's that light heady high. It doesn't put people down. You know what I mean? It keeps the preservation of the look, which is what everybody wants. Gold, white, you know what I mean? Light. Nobody wants brown. Nobody wants green. Nobody even wants yellow when it comes to rosin. You know what I mean? They want that light white, you know what I mean? That super bright, pretty looking. It's why CRC Tech dominates between real sauce and slabs versus that, because it's so white and nice looking. You add the Terps to it, and it's just so clear and pretty to look at. It's so clean to look at. People want that. It has that appearance of better because it looks cleaner, because it's lighter. If you present somebody with a temple ball in a contest like this rather than the bright white looking hash, they're going to instantly see that and be put off by it. Most judges are, because most of the kids today are accustomed to this style of hash, not the old school Frenchy style hash. They've been brought up on West Coast Alchemy, West Coast Cure, Grape God, you know what I mean, Exclusive Melts, Blessed Farms. They've been brought up on these brands, Zen Extracts, these brands that everything's come beautiful and gold and ripe looking, in that early 8-week pull down where the amber, isn't a part of the equation. So really, that question goes towards what type of person are you looking to attract and who are you growing for? You know what I mean? Because anybody can say, well, man, we've got to take it down right in that sound. But the truth of the matter is you should let it go to its ripest potential, and that's going to give it its fullest spectrum and your heaviest high. But most people don't look to get high today. Marijuana's become bougie. It's become, I've got this strawberry banana, let's smoke it and do 12 dabs, and all of us, and come on, we'll go out and have a wine tasting later. It's really elevated to a separate level of, you know what I mean? It's
Gotcha.
terpenes have gone to a wine and food culture, which isn't a bad thing. It's a great thing, and I love it. But you have to understand that people aren't looking to get high anymore. They're looking to have flavor, peach, grape, those cherries, talk about those bougie flavors and the things that they can have that are nice and full and fun. So when it comes to that question, it depends on the person. But for me personally, whatever the person who's getting the extract wants. Because honestly, you should grow a plant to its full potential. You'll get the most out of it, and you'll get the highest. I'm old school, baby. I want to get stoned.
So here's the thing. Even though I understand what you're saying 100% in regards to the current clientele and what everybody wants, but at the end of the day, if we're talking about we're using this as a medicine and we're cutting the medicine short from its full potential, how will we know what the medicine will be beneficial for?
See, that's a different thing. That is if you're trying to provide medicine and you're trying to build to its best potential.
Let me take out the medicine, because at the end of the day, if you're trying to give that genetics its full potential, and in order for you to shine the full potential of the genetics by cutting the harvest time sooner than when it should, how will you know what the true potential of the genetics is?
See, that's the thing. We should always grow something out to its full potential. Most things today that are bred out today, that the kids are growing today,
Mhm.
have been bred into 8-week plants.
Are we sure? Because you just told me, regardless if it's supposed to be 8 or 9 weeks, they're still going for the clear. So they don't really give a shit. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, oh, absolutely.
So even though they're taking it down the 8 to whatever, I want to know if they were to leave it up for maybe 14 weeks, what would happen then?
Well,
What
with
kind of
most indicas or a ruderalis or an autoflower, you don't need that time. It's true sativas, 14, 16 weeks. Absolutely. Most plants don't need anything.
so then
more
about
than
10 weeks?
10 weeks, yes.
All right. So if we run into 10 weeks with the
And
hybrid,
it depends on your growing too and your growing medium, because it depends on your desired intake for nutrient as well as your desired flush period. So depending on the medium that you're using to grow in
soil,
will give you,
let's say soil.
So if it's just soil and you want to use that 3-week period to give it a good flush, you know what I mean? But you still want to give it a nice full feed, which most feeds would take you 6-8 weeks. But if you want to flush, now you've taken a plant that's going to be 8 weeks into 12 weeks because you want to flush properly. So really it depends on the growing medium, what you're growing, you know what I mean? And to really how clean you want it to be when you're done going through the process. Most people today and most kids today, if you told them you had to take a soil plant and flush it with water for 3 weeks to really, you know what I mean? But you have to remember, most growers in the 80s and 90s were pushing with hardeners to get mass resin production. Growing wasn't elevated to a platform where people now have learned to take natural soil and mediums and push its resin production and mass potential with natural mediums without having to use hardeners. You know what I mean? So you have to remember the mentality for growers has changed exponentially because, as you brought up earlier, getting grow equipment back in the 80s and 90s was like guerrilla farming. You know what I mean? It was hit or miss. You know, you were jumping in and out of the trees to get what you could. Whereas today, there's 15 grow stores between your house and mine. Yeah. So you can walk into any store and get the most top-notch equipment to have the best grow on the market in your home or in your
you just order it online now.
That's what Amazon, right? But I mean, you know, at the end of the day, it really depends on the person at the end of the day that you're growing for. True. Because here's the biggest complaint you get from most dispensaries. Because most dispensaries will take things to full term and do what they're doing, and they have a lot of full term product, they have a lot of dark product. And because of it, dispensaries get a knock for like having dark product. But the truth of the matter is the product is ambered to the way it's supposed to be the medicine it's supposed to be. But kids today don't want dark because they assimilate dark with boof. Because in the early 2000s, when people first started creating hydrocarbon, blasting, and BHO, most of the stuff that was old would come out dark and nasty and pucky, and everybody was like, ooh, food grade, and you didn't want to dab that or smoke that. You didn't want any part of it. You wanted something that was golden. Tangy, you might have that orange amber to it. But other than that, if it wasn't a gold piece of shatter, you definitely didn't want to dab it and you felt super suspect about it. So that mentality has carried through to today, but to a point where the standard would elevated so high across the market that over the last 15 years, what's happened is people are used to white, clear, beautiful, understood processed hash. True. A science that they didn't have access to before, where you had to hide your weed, you had to cure your weed. You were doing those 6-month processes because you were a ninja with your weed in the woods. You weren't out and open and able to grow in a scientific facility, in a zero room, have things on a counter, have things on a feed measure, have things on a CO2, and just be able to, an app on your phone and be like, oh yeah, I killed the growth today. I'm maxing its potential.
Right.
Let's get in there. Oh, the slide table. I got to get in there and pluck that one leaf. Yep, she's lollipop perfect. Top. Woo, everything's coming great. You know what I mean? Like the style of grow and the mentality of growing in the processing of the plant yesterday versus today is almost archaic in a point where it's like a caveman versus a man of today. You know what I mean? Just it's evolved so much that people have a higher standard of it. But unfortunately, in that standard, a bit of the understanding and the science of the plant and you know what I mean, the empathy for dark material has been lost.
Gotcha. All right, let me get you back to it.
So here we go. We've got number 10 we're judging. The Resin Cup live. Woo, we're getting high, motherfuckers. We're getting high. Oh my God, it's 6:30. I'm supposed to be on the podcast. Woo-hoo, don't worry, we'll be there.
Got 2 more to go after this one.
There's nothing better than when you break in the hash and you dig in, right? And it's like it breaks it up and the terpene release and you get that. And you're like, oh, thank you. 10 though, very shy on that. Very shy. They're not exactly gushing with. Because of it, I took a little bit larger of it down than I normally would. So I'm going to hit this in a moment, but I'm also going to grab my water because I'm already 10 minutes in and haven't taken a drink. That's amazing, and I'm talking shit.
So thank you guys for if you so far tuning in, and I mentioned you made it this far. If you hit me up on IG, let me know that you want an NFT. I'll be more than happy to deliver your NFT. It's basically a token concept right now. Certain NFTs are only going to be for the judges, the vendors, and the competitors. But then there's going to be other NFTs that anyone can get in. So some of the tokens will allow you to get access to future resin cups. Also, some of the NFTs would allow you access to some of the dab bars that we'll have. Some of the NFTs will give you access to the press that we might have on location. So you know, if you go to OpenSea, you put in Resin Cup, that should pull up the collection. Right now, I think I got 10 different pieces. But like I said, not all of the NFTs are available to everybody. There's just certain ones that are available. And let me know if you're interested. And I want to do another project as well. Thank you so much. I'm trying to find an artist to do another project for the Resin Cup. So there's another NFT project I want to do, but I'm not an artist and I don't have time.
The show that I'm doing, my buddy's show, the Higher Education, I believe. Their 3-day music festival. They have a ton of artists, and one guy that heads them all up. I'll put you in touch with him. You can figure something out.
And right now, I'm just using my photography stuff and stuff that I kind of like put together.
It's a good group of people because they work together, but they work on an understanding of you got to put in some work to make money first.
Gotcha. Yeah, I just first project I want to do 100 different type of pieces, and then there's a bigger one that I want to do. But yeah, I got an idea. I'm not that artistic, but I got an idea, and that's it. And like with the OpenSea, I can set up like, you know, if we do a collaboration, you know, in the back channel, if they got an OpenSea, I can put them in there and they don't have to worry about anything. Anytime an art piece is sold, they'll get a percentage of that forever for being a contributor. So, you know.
That's the great thing about this whole NFT thing, right?
Yeah.
You can set it up on a contract so that you get paid every time it's resold.
Yep.
Problem is, a bunch of them are just not as good as they're promised.
So that's the thing, right? It's the project behind the NFT that really makes it successful. At the end of the day, just like anything else. You know, it's just like, think about the back in the day with the WW dot. Everybody had a WW dot when everything came out. It's the same thing that's going on right now. You know, there's only going to be a certain percentage that are successful. Um, you know, most of the music artists, they're trying to get on using that. You know, some of them are successful, some haven't. But NFT is more, you know, I think it's actually what makes it win is the culture behind the project.
Well, the return that the project will give
The culture,
and the artwork.
yeah, the culture behind the project. So if if you're just like, oh, I made, 1,000 of these pieces and they all look different and I want this how much each, da 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 da, and there's nothing else behind it except the fucking different background and a different picture, you know.
Like glass, so stable, it's ridiculous. So many ridiculous shatter.
So you think that's too much? Did they overdo it?
No, this is the Terps. This is just how it is. This is how it came out, no matter what.
Gotcha.
There wouldn't have been anything they could have changed to make that any different. I mean, you could whip it a little more. You can tell that this was definitely pressed, and this wasn't jar cured. Let's just put it that way. And now, had they sat this, it probably would have been a little better than it is. But it's very devoid of terps. It's and I thought maybe digging into it, but I think it's an off
gas
GMO.
once it's heated.
Yeah, it's like got some type of got that funk to it. So we'll see. It's super stable. I mean, it's super, without doubt, it's super clear. I mean, to be honest with you, it's a gram that any store or dispensary would love to have and sell. You know what I mean? It's what they look for today. All right, I'll tell you what, I can't get this motherfucker.
Yeah, I normally just put it on the fucking the pearl itself when it's like that. Oh, yeah,
yeah, see, this is a little gassy, funky. Let's take it down to funk town, baby. This is I'm gonna fuck with you. Go. So this one,
what are you thinking, man?
it's super clean.
Right?
Super clean. Super clean. Super clean. Like, it's very clean. It's hard, right? Because body flavor.
Exactly. Hey, do what you gotta do.
I'm gonna get that. It's just really too bad. Even with complexity, it's hard. Smoothness is definitely forced. Stability.
She uses the neon. Is it really? Let me see. I have a can. What do you think of the blue when it comes to butane?
What do you mean?
This is what I refill my fucking torch with.
I don't know. I don't think I've ever used them.
Let's see at the
Yeah. I've always used this one right here.
I got the fucking the green one. I had to get it.
Yeah, that's the best color, bro.
I had the purple one, but I lost that one.
You know, I gotta tell you, 11 was amazing, guys. Oh, yes, I do have the pendant. I do. I have the pendant, and hold on a second. I put it away. I also have the saber tooth. Ooh, the tooth. Yes. No, I have not. Listen, the pendant and the rig, but I also have. There's a saber tooth that goes with it. Just a tooth. All right, that goes with it. So all three pieces. Woo! Yes. Yes. All right, here we go. This is it, number 12.
Made it through.
Trucking along. Keep on dabbing, America.
Oh, man.
Drink your water while dabbing. Stay hydrated. And don't do what the host does. Don't break your banger at the beginning of the show. No bueno.
But have a backup rig just in case.
He's got the Puffco and it glows, so he feels special. Anything that glows is special, so really, come on, how special is it? All right, this is I feel the same exact thing. Man, it's too bad, but it's super stable. I know it's going to be super smooth, too. It's the same. So, all right, I need to clean this, though. So, I have the bottle. I burned off every little one, but I also took a massive hit on that one.
You need to get your pearls out? Or do you keep them in there?
No, it's all right. I was, oh, look at you. Look at you.
You have a paper towel? There we go. Let me just drop it right there. Wipe that off. This thing's like broken now.
Yeah, the other, everything else that I did, but that last one is like really sticking around. So.
Yep, the pearlies are cleaned up. You gotta get like some glue because this, I guess it was like a glue or I just need to glue that so it doesn't. Yeah, man, that's
a pretty cool little phone. All right, here we go. Here we go. Here we go. All right. You're not gonna come off. I should remember that because I just did your brother. You would together now. What do you want to call your sister?
Oh, just grab the pearlies and just rub it off onto the pearlies. That's what I normally do.
It won't. It doesn't come off. You know what I mean? Like, it does not. Now it just.
Hey,
I'm trying not to do a big. Holy shit, dude! This shit's like taffy, bro. This takes me back to the days of like when you first got snap and pull. And you didn't like it because you got everywhere and you didn't know how to handle it. You know what I mean? And then you started to realize you had to really take more of a dab than you really wanted because it ended up fucking everywhere. All right. It's all over this entire banger. Okay. Here we go. Here we go, dude. I'm taking the final ride. All right. This is Cushman's.
I have no idea what you're talking about right now.
It has that. Why doesn't it smell like this? You know what I mean? Like, damn, dude.
I don't know.
So as far as like, I'll be honest with you,
Mm-hmm.
the last two,
Mm-hmm.
well, no flavor whatsoever,
Mm-hmm.
like smell whatsoever. Um, as far as exhale,
Mm-hmm.
absolutely the smoothest, absolutely the cleanest of all of them.
Mm-hmm.
I'd be curious to know what the test results were to see. I mean, all hash should be clean, right? It depends on the water they're using. That's what really separates. If you're washing with regular water, not hard water. That actually is a good swallow in my head right now, too.
So overall, what'd you think of the entries?
I'm gonna be honest with you. 12 is a good amount because I am fucked up. How do I say this? I've judged certain cups that have been around a long time that in their beginning didn't have as good of an array as the hash that you accumulated in this cup.
Thank you. Yeah, I was surprised by that. There's definitely no repeaters in regards to the strain types, and there is different formats as far as there's similar patterns, but I think there's only one kind of vibe rosin that was in there out of the whole batch, and then the rest were more like either bubble that was pressed or either dry sift that was pressed in regards to the entries. But yeah.
By
Well,
the way, all 12 grams were pretty impressive. All 12 entries. And I remember one of my kits one year was a sativa kit, only had 17 entries for high times. And, this kit would rival that kit as far as like what you really got in that 17 entries that was any good.
for sure.
So,
Thank you. Props to you, hash makers.
Absolutely. Props to the hash makers, to all the participants, everybody who entered. Most importantly, props to you for getting it to me sealed, delivered, ice cold, pretty as pretty can be in its form. And most importantly, I appreciate you for respecting my opinion on hash.
Thanks.
And
man.
again, it's just an opinion.
Of course.
Not a fact.
Of course. Do you have anything you want to let the people know about before we close out the show?
Actually, I'll be honest with you. This is a very interesting concept. I like this a lot, and I think it's something that needs to be talked about and expanded on.
All right.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
All right, guys. So I appreciate you hanging with me, and don't forget, I don't have any advertisements yet. So if you could share, like, comment, don't forget to subscribe. And thank you for tuning into the Terps of the Beast Coast. We'll catch you with the next judge. And don't forget, I'm still going to be doing another live judge at the event. So I'll look forward to that one. We probably might be doing something with, what is that thing called again? Clubhouse. Who knows? All right. Terp out.